Prononciation, les lettres X et Z. Pronunciation, the letters X and Z. This is the last lesson of a pronunciation series I've been doing on each letter of the alphabet. In this lesson, you'll learn how to pronounce the letters X and Z in French, including when they're joined with other letters. So how is the letter X pronounced? In French, there are 4 ways to pronounce the letter X. The most common way is like the X in the English word fox. The X is also sometimes pronounced like the X in the English name Alexander. The X of French cardinal numbers is pronounced like an S, and the X of French ordinal numbers is pronounced like a Z. In French, the letter X is usually pronounced like the X in the English word fox. This is always the case when the X is placed next to a consonant or in the last syllable. However, the X is pronounced like the X in the English name Alexander when it is the first letter of a word, and occasionally when placed between 2 vowels. And as we've said previously, the X in French cardinal numbers is either silent or pronounced like an S, and the X is pronounced like a Z in ordinal numbers. So for example, 10, 10, un taxi, a taxi, un taxi, 6e, 6th, 6e, un expert, an expert, un expert, un exemple, an example, un exemple. 10 is a cardinal number, and so the X is pronounced like an S. The X in taxi is in the last syllable, and so is pronounced like the X in the English word fox. 6e is an ordinal number, and so the X is pronounced like a Z. The X in expert is followed by a consonant, and so is pronounced like the X in the English word fox. And finally, the X in the word exemple is between 2 vowels and is pronounced like the X in the English name Alexander. How is the letter X plus a vowel pronounced? XA is pronounced xa or xa. For example, examiner, to examine, exagérer, to exaggerate. Examiner, exagérer. XE is pronounced xe or xe. For example, taxe, tax, réflexe, reflex. Taxe, réflexe. XI is pronounced xi or xi. For example, toxique, toxic, exister, to exist. Toxique, exister. XO is pronounced xo or xo. For example, saxophone, saxophone, exotique, exotique. Saxophone, exotique. XU is pronounced xu or xu. For example, sexualité, sexuality. Sexualité. And XY is pronounced xi or xi. For example, xylophone, xylophone. Oxygène, oxygen. Xylophone, oxygène. How is the letter Z pronounced? The letter Z is pronounced the same in French and English. For example, 13, 13, 13. Le zoo, the zoo, le zoo. un zèbre, a zebra, un zèbre. How is the letter Z plus a vowel pronounced? ZA is pronounced ZA, for example, bizarre, bizarre, lézard, lizard, bizarre, lézard. ZE is pronounced Z, for example, 11, 11, 16, 16, 11, 16. ZI is pronounced Z, for example, 15e, 15th, magazine, magazine, 15e, magazine. ZO is pronounced zo, for example, zozoter, to speak with a lisp, zone, zone, zozoter, zone. ZU is pronounced zu, for example, Venezuela, Venezuela, Venezuela. And ZY is pronounced Z, for example, enzyme, enzyme, enzyme. Please note, when the letters XE or ZE are followed by two consonants, the E is pronounced like the E in the English word bed, and the letter E is silent when it is the last letter of a multi-syllable word. Also, you need to look out for the following letter clusters, because these clusters usually have a vowel sound of their own. To learn about these, you can watch the first 6 videos of this pronunciation series. Here are the links to the first 6 videos of this pronunciation series. And if you're interested, here are the links to my grammar, vocabulary, culture and pronunciation playlists. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions, requests or suggestions, please leave a comment below. And don't forget, you can also find me on Twitter and Facebook. Bye!